Okay. Hey, everybody. So, welcome to our very last week of Five Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. We are finishing up this book study tonight, and I will be leading us. Christina has done a fantastic job. So, thank you to her times a million, because I know it is a lot of work to prepare for a book study just for 1 week, much less a whole lot of weeks in a row. So, I appreciate her taking the time to study the content and prepare enough to come and lead us and add all the value she has to offer to us. I just appreciate her partnership so much. So, and also she's super smart and fun to listen to, and she brings the energy and lots of wisdom. So I'm just really glad that she did this book study for us. It's been really helpful and it's been a lot of fun. And also thank you to Michelle for the week that she led, because 1 week Christina had to miss for one reason or another. Maybe she was traveling, I can't remember. But anyways, Michelle did a fantastic job too. So we're going to finish up 5 levels tonight, and then next week we're going to jump right into the Slight Edge. So if you have not already ordered your book, go ahead and get right on that. All right, so 5 levels. So let's talk about the 5 levels just overall. How does it apply to Plexus? Like, how do you know which one you are? So let me just give you my personal opinion, just a quick rundown of how you can tell which level you are and what it means applied to Plexus. So level 1, leadership in Plexus would, I don't really know a lot of people like this in Plexus who have actual teams that they're leading, but if they did, they probably would look something like somebody who thinks that they are the boss. They think that if they say something or tell their team members to go do something, like if their team members saying, well, I want to make money, or, I'm interested in working the business, and then they say, they tell the person what to do, and the person should just automatically do it. They tell the person to be on team calls, and they're just absolutely baffled and cannot understand why, and super frustrated and irritated that week after week, even though they've already told them they need to be on team calls, they still don't see the person on team calls. So stuff like that would be a level 1 leader. It's permission. It's not permission, it's position. And it's just, you just think that because you are the upline, that somehow entitles you to be a boss. And when you are building a team in an organization like this, we're all entrepreneurs, we're all independent, and nobody has to do anything you say. We are leading a volunteer army. And so it's really hard to have a team in Plexus and be a level 1 leader, but I'm sure it does happen. Okay. But if you want to climb the levels of leadership, then go up to level 2, then that would be where your people know that you care about them. They know that you care about them and they don't feel manipulated by you. So that would be level 2 leadership. Do your people truly know how much you value them, care about them, believe in their potential? Sorry, I'm trying to admit somebody. All right, I need to make somebody else the co-host here. Emily. All right, Emily, I just had to make you the host. I hope that's okay. Can you admit people, Emily?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I don't know why it wouldn't let me make you the co-host. All right. So anyways, level 2 is where people know that you care about them and they don't feel manipulated. They follow you because they want to, not because they have to. It's because in some way you've added value to them and you care about them and they know it. Okay. So level 3, I believe that level 3, as applied to Plexus, is twofold. You are producing. That means that you know how to recruit, you know how to retain your customers, and you know how to create business builders. So you can tell if this is you by just looking at your level 1s and just doing a quick analysis. First of all, are you consistently recruiting? If you're not consistently recruiting, then you're not a level 3 leader. Okay. Unless your business is in a place where you're content with it and don't want it to, you don't necessarily want it to grow, then you have permission to not continue to enroll. But I don't think that's anybody on this call. Pretty sure everybody on here wants to grow. But if you're not consistently enrolling people, then you're not consistently producing. You have not mastered level 3. If you are consistently producing, but you're losing almost every person that you get, I would say that if your retention is not at least 60%, we'll say 60% to be conservative, but I mean, I think that 6 out of 10 people who join you should still be ordering 90 days, 120 days later. Okay. So that's something that you need to analyze. If you don't know how to do that, Michelle made a great video. It's called Numbers, Numbers, Numbers. And she gives you step-by-step instructions on how to figure out each one of these key metrics. Okay. So you can figure out your 30-day, 60-day, 90-day retention rate just by looking at some numbers in your virtual office. And she tells you how to do that. So I won't do that here. And then create business builders. So take a look at your silver development rate. It should be at least 10% of your level 1s going silver and above. So for every 10 people that you enroll, you should have 1 going silver. Okay. So those are the things that you need to master if you want to master the first level, the first part of level 3 leadership, which is production. Are you producing consistently? The second part of level 3 leadership is you have a team who is producing. So not only do you know how to recruit, retain, and create business builders, but you know how to help other people do the same thing. So in order to figure this out, then you would just look at your level 2s. Look at all the same key metrics, how many people they're recruiting a month. Hopefully it's at least 3 every single month. And then look at their 30, 60, 90-day retention rate and look at their silver development rate. So if you want to know if you've mastered level 3, just do some analyzing. Are you consistently producing in those 3 key areas, recruitment, retaining, and duplication? And then also, do you have level 1s who are doing the same thing? So take a look at your level 2s. All right. Level 4 leadership in Plexus. Your leaders also know how to recruit, retain, and develop business builders. Plus, they know how to show their people how to do the same thing. So to analyze this or get a good idea or a good picture of what this would look like, a level 4 organization, look at your level 3s. It's not just if you know how to do these things yourself and teach your people how to do these things, but do your people know how to teach their people how to do these things? In other words, you might know how to develop leaders, but do your people know how to develop leaders? That would be level 4 leadership. If you have multiple, like different legs of your team have level 3 leaders, strong leaders on your level 3s, then you are this pretty good indicator that you are a level 4 leader. That's when your leaders know how to develop leaders. Okay. Level 5, you have developed multiple level 4 leaders. So remember, a level 4 leader is somebody whose leaders are developing leaders. So I hope that this is not confusing. So if a level 5 would be somebody who's developed multiple level 4 leaders. If you have several leaders on your team whose leaders know how to develop leaders, that would put you at level 5. And I'm saying like level 5 would mean you have multiple legs of your team. I don't mean like all stacked one under the other, because I mean, that could just mean your person recruited a rock star, who recruited a rock star, who recruited a rock star. And really, is any leadership development actually happening? You can tell when leadership development is happening if there's width in an organization. Okay. So you don't just have one rock star, you have several. That's a reflection of your leadership, not luck. Okay. I mean, anybody can recruit a rock star, but not very few people are going to recruit two rock stars, right? The rock stars are developed, they're created. Okay, they're not just found. All right. I mean, they can be found, but it's rare that you would have that stroke of luck more than once. Okay, so let's discuss. So according to these Plexus definition, which level are you and what's your plan to climb to the next level? And I do understand this requires a bit of vulnerability. So whoever is willing to share, I would appreciate it a ton. What are y'all's thoughts? Do you know which level you are? And if you do, what's your plan to climb to the next level?
I'll go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Well, I really feel like I'm probably around a 3.
Okay.
Maybe 3.5. We do like 3.5 level leader.
Okay. Tell me more.
I've developed leaders, but I'm definitely not a 5 because I haven't developed multiple leaders who have developed multiple leaders. So what was the second part of the question? Wasn't there a second part?
What's the plan to climb to the next level?
Okay. The plan. Well, I definitely need to hone in on this developing leaders, which I think has to do with vision for me. And I'm reading a book about that. And so I just have to keep helping and casting vision for people. And I think really getting better at that skill is going to get me to where I want to be.
That's so good. Love it. Thank you for sharing that, Jana. I know that required you to be vulnerable. Anybody else willing to be vulnerable?
I will. Okay. So I definitely have not mastered level 3. Sometimes I think I'm like a 2.9. If we want to be decimals here, Jana. But I know that I need to be a student of duplication again. I also know it starts with recruiting again. So I need to go back, and I've had a really good conversation actually with Rachel Griffin on this after her Monday Night Live call, and just going back into the basics. But, you know, I've done it before and I know I can do it again. So I know it had to do with mindset and whatnot. So I've been working on the mindset, but now I just need to be a student of the student of a student. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. All right. That's awesome. Love it. Love that we are self-aware and feel like we know what to do moving forward. Anybody else?
I'll go, Brittany.
Okay.
So I only have one. I have one rock star on my team. Okay. And I asked her to fill out that questionnaire at the beginning of the book, and that was super scary to ask somebody, to be totally honest, because I wanted to grow. So from that, I was level 3, and so I'm trying to get to level 4, and I'm realizing with helping her duplicate beyond silver, like she's creating silvers, is a lot of like mindset stuff and vision stuff. And so when I share about the business opportunity, I know, and she and I both know, we need to do more hand holding and more like baby steps, and then just keep casting that vision. So so I don't know if that counts because I only have one person. So, but that's where I think I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean, it does count. It definitely counts for something. I mean, so let me clarify. When I said that anybody can recruit a rock star, that doesn't mean that if you only have one business builder, that was just luck, because you can have a business builder that you have completely developed and that person would not be where they are without you. So it doesn't always mean that. So I just want to make that clarification. So, I mean, it can, like, there are certain instances where I have seen somebody sponsor a person who just takes off flying and they're working harder than their upline, and their upline doesn't really work hard to get points outside of them, but their points keep going up, right? So they get credit for that because of the person's work under them. That's just the nature of the industry that we're in. But it doesn't necessarily reflect that the upline is doing the work, but it doesn't mean that the upline's not. Obviously, if you're leading your team and you're helping that person produce, that is level 3 leadership. I think you can solidify that by doing it with more people. And the more people you do that with, the more confident that you're going to become that you are a solid level 3. Like, this was not a fluke, that you have a part in this. You see the work that you're doing that is helping people be successful. It's not just one, it's several. And so I think that the more you do it, the better you'll get at it and the more confident you're going to feel.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for sharing that. So let's move on to a little bit more of level 5. So he says that once you reach level 5, that your focus should not be on advancing yourself. It should be on helping others move up as high as they can go. So can you identify the experiences that taught you invaluable leadership lessons and shaped you as a person and a leader? Can you remember the first time you felt like, oh my gosh, I'm a leader? Can you remember that? And like what made you feel that way?
It happened to me today. I was going to share it during the previous question, but then you moved on. So, but this kind of
we can back up, Laurel. Tell us all the things.
So I, like Sarah Marie said, I kind of feel like I've mastered 1 and 2, and I'm working through 3. And so tonight, Terry and I started an accountability group because I've been doing this for over 2 years now and had a rock star that quit on me that's back. And now I have 4 rock stars. And we started an accountability group with them tonight at 8:30 for 4 weeks. And so, I feel like I'm maybe on that stage next year at convention.
Oh, that's awesome, Laurel. I'm so excited for you. All right. So you felt like a leader today when you led that first accountability call.
Yes.
Awesome.
I finally felt like I had a team, and I was leading that team alongside of my sponsor, Terry.
Mm-hmm. So what was that like?
So it went well. All of the runners are ready to fill out their accountability sheets, their daily and their weekly sheet. Their weekly sheet will be turned in to us every Tuesday by lunchtime, and we'll meet again next Thursday to talk about it.
That's awesome. Well, I love it. Okay, so talking about experiences that taught you invaluable leadership lessons and shaped you as a person, as a leader, that is a prime example of one where you took ownership of the workers that you have created and developed, and you are taking ownership of trying to lead them. So that is a great opportunity that you have set yourself up for, is leading them in the accountability calls. I love that, Laurel. That's so good. All right. Anybody else? Can you think of experiences that taught you leadership lessons and shaped you as a person and a leader?
I feel like the first time I had to have a genuine hard conversation with someone for their own benefit and their advancement, it was a big moment for me because I strongly dislike confrontation, and it makes me highly uncomfortable to even think about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I wasn't doing it for any selfish reason. Like, I had really thought about it hard. I'd played through what I needed to say in my head to come across the right way. because I'm also a level 3, or not a level 3, Enneagram 3, and a lot of times what I think just comes right on out, and it doesn't always come out in the best light. And I had just really put a lot of effort into making this be an efficient conversation for her. And when I got done, as scared as I was to do it, both of us were so much happier and better. And she took what I said to heart, and like it really changed her business. And I left that conversation feeling like, had I not done that, where would she be going tomorrow versus where she's going now? Like, I know I changed her trajectory having that hard conversation because I wasn't selfish and I did it when I didn't want to.
That's good, Jessa. Thank you for sharing that. For me, some of the most valuable experiences that have shaped me as a leader would be times where I was allowed to speak or train, and then hearing the feedback afterwards. That would build my confidence that I could do that again, or that what I had to say did actually add value, because I came into this very insecure, very unsure of myself, and not confident. But that first team call I ever led, y'all, I read the entire thing. I literally wrote the whole thing out and put it in front of my computer screen like this and read the whole thing. I don't think anybody knew I was reading because I can be animated, but I read. And then I got really good feedback from the call, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess it didn't suck. Maybe I will do another one of those. And so the more I would do that, then, I mean, I still get nervous, but it did help me feel more confident going into it that I could be a leader. So those are some of the experiences that have shaped me. Anybody else have any?
I would
just
like
say-
to, sorry.
Go.
Go ahead. Who was it? Cecilia?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just thinking as you guys were talking, and I felt like a leader in Plexus when one of my workers told me that she couldn't go to convention, and I felt like doing this and the attitude, the positive attitude that that I've learned, that I've like experienced here, not to be emotionally attached to the outcome with other people. I was able to just not have hard feelings about it and let her know that it was okay. And her feedback from that was she was blown away. And I just felt in that moment, I felt like, wow, this is what it feels like to, it was kind of a hard conversation, but not take things so personally in business. I felt like that was a good leadership move.
That's awesome. So kind of like Jessa having a hard conversation that was effective and got results. Love it. What were you going to say, Sarah Marie?
I was just going to add to what you had said about when a leader has asked me to like do a book study, or when Abby asked me to do a product call with her for the first time, that really, and like you said, it didn't suck, and people messaged you back saying like, oh, that was really good. That definitely made me feel like a leader. Or when like April or Abby asked for my opinion on something, I really feel like, oh, you want my opinion? And they're like, yes, we want to hear from you. So it just encouraged.
Love that. Anybody else?
One time that I really, like, I had already previously been feeling like, oh, I'm a leader, you know, what level? Yeah, that's debatable. But I had felt like I'm a leader. But the first time I had somebody on my team earn leaders retreat, that really was like, oh, you can do it. Like, you can not just do it like you level, like you can help other people do it. And so that was really a big deal for me. when
Mm.
I had somebody earn that for the first time.
That's a great point. Yep. And that is a really good feeling. It really solidifies that this is like really real. When you have other people winning things. Anybody else? Experiences that made you feel like a leader or gave you experience as a leader?
Share. When the person I'm talking about, the runner, joined, in her first like month or so, she had some mindset setbacks, and I had just finished reading Leadership, and so it was all fresh in my mind of like what kind of leader I wanted to be per John Maxwell's advice, So on that, it was a Zoom call with her, and on that call, I asked questions that I probably wouldn't have thought to ask before, things that maybe have felt like I would have thought, oh, that's too personal, like don't go there, like she'll just restraint with, and instead just ask more questions. So that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing what I normally wouldn't do, and doing, what I feel like I should be doing instead. And she always references that call and says that really made a difference for her and helped her.
That's awesome. So what would you have normally done?
I maybe would have just not brushed it aside, but I would have been like, that's normal. Everybody thinks those thoughts. It's totally okay. Let's move on, and let's just go into the work, instead of, well, why do you think that? What has made you think those thoughts? And why would you think that people are saying those things? And where is this coming from? So we had a really deep conversation about it. And I think like that was pivotal for her, with just her thought process moving forward. So those were things I would not have said before, and I would have thought, that's too personal, but it helped.
That's awesome. I love that, Syra. My internet was a little glitchy, the first part of what you were saying. So I'm sorry if you just repeated yourself. Like if you said something and then I asked you something you already said, it's because of the internet. But anyways, that is great. I love that you are learning and growing and applying. And I cannot even explain how many times I will read something that day or listen to something that day, and then it comes up in conversation. And then I have like the perfect thing to say in that moment that if I had not learned something or listened to something that day, I just would have had no idea what to say. So I love that you're adding value to yourself so that you can add value to other people. That is good leadership. All right.
Right.
So was somebody else about to say something?
I was going to say something.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the most applicable things that I love that I've learned through you guys and have been able to apply directly to our team is the thought model, and literally helping walk people through a thought model. And it's like, okay, Pamela, you can't overuse the thought model all the time, but it's like thoughts come up that are really like, you can just hear it in the language that they're saying, and you identify, and it's like, hey, let's just take a moment. Let's just work through this real fast. What do you think about that? Can we do that? And then just helping them identify it. And most times, it's not even something that they're realizing is a trap that they're in. And then you expose it. And it's like, it brings such freedom.
Yes.
It's so good. So I appreciate that you guys have taken such a great time to really teach us that. And then how we're able to go ahead and use that with our own teams.
I love that. That's great leadership too, helping people work through their own thoughts. Okay, so as a mentor and as a leader, you can give the inexperienced leaders on your team leadership experiences that make them better leaders. How can you do that? So we just described a lot of different scenarios where you were given an opportunity to lead that you learned valuable lessons from or made you feel like a leader. So how can you provide that for your team?
Asking them to step into a leader role, asking them to set up something or do their own event, or placing them in a position to make the effective leadership moves.
Mhm.
Because even though they might not have done it scared on their own, Christina just asked me something last week that I was like, yeah, I'll do it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. And I know that when I'm done, I will be fine. I'll just might have a small panic attack before that. But I think that y'all always do that to us. Y'all always put us in those positions. And then once we're there, it turns out that we didn't die. And then we're better because of it.
Yes. I love what you said about leading events. Totally agree. I think that every leader should be leading their team. And events is a really good way to do that, whether you're doing it virtually or in person. I definitely think that events is the perfect place for you to start giving you the leaders on your team leadership opportunity, or not. They might not be leaders yet. Maybe they're just workers at this point that you're trying to develop into leaders. Having them have a job at an event, speaking, or maybe their gift is not public speaking, maybe their gift is hospitality, but they have a part. Because I mean, I know diamonds personally that I'm friends with that they don't love the training aspect or public speaking or anything like that, but hospitality, they can knock it out of the park. And so when we have events or something like that, that's where they thrive. So they're still leading, they're still contributing, they're still adding value. Leaders add value. That is what you want to train your people how to do. If you want to turn your people into leaders, got to teach them how to add value. Events is a perfect place to start. Any other ideas on leadership opportunities you can provide for your team?
I think it comes down to just inviting them to things like book study. I mean, what a great way to start with just personal development.
Yes, totally agree. And encouraging them to speak up, because leaders generally have things to say. They have thoughts. And leaders do speak up. And they might have to speak up scared, but they speak up.
That's what I was going to say, because I remember you telling me that when I first started doing this business. And you were like, make sure you say something, think about what it is and say it. And I've encouraged my team to do the same. And book study is kind of an easy way to speak up, because you can be prepared a little bit with something. You may not know the question, but if you're reading the book, you can kind of have some ideas in your mind about what stood out to you. And usually there is a way to bring that in. And so I have encouraged mine to do the same, just like what you said, just doing the same thing you said, just encouraging my leaders to speak up. And also something else is, if this is something I've done, we made a group chat, of course, with our team, the team that's working, and our business builders, and my level ones that are in there. I will go personally to them and say, hey, can you go talk about this? Can you go add this in the chat? I know you've done that to some of us. And so that's something that gives them an opportunity to do something. Or if they ask me a question that I don't know, I'll say, if they're a gold, I'll say, hey, can you go in the gold chat and ask that? Or just showing some leadership in those areas, just adding again to the chats. And
that's a great example, Jana. I hadn't even thought of that, but yes, you are absolutely correct about the group chats, and you go in there and tell them what value they can add, or ask them to speak up about something. That is definitely giving them a leadership platform, and it's giving them influence over your team when you do stuff like that. Because when people add value, they do gain influence. When they solve problems for people, they gain influence. And so leadership is influence. And also book study, speaking up, it's really important for leaders to do that. Really important. Think about the leaders that you know by name. Like if their name came up in conversation, doesn't matter what rank they are, if their name comes up in conversation and you're thinking, oh yeah, I know who that person is, chances are you know who they are because of book study, because they contributed a thought. It doesn't have to be anything profound, but they are adding their 2 cents and they're engaging in the discussion on book study. Leaders intentionally add value, and book study is the perfect place to start doing that, because we have a group setting here. It's open discussion. We're literally asking for input. And if you are a leader and you're working hard, you should have thoughts. So leaders don't need to sit there and think, I can't say that because everybody already knows that. Leaders should not assume that, because even if everybody knows it, nobody's going to say it quite like you're going to say it. They're not going to have quite your take on it. You have value to add, and it's really important if you want to set yourself up as a leader, if you want to have credibility as a leader, if you want your team to see you as a leader, they need to see you speaking up on book studies. And when you do that, and other people on the calls start to see you as a leader because you've added value in some way, and your team sees that, it adds even more credibility to who you are as a leader. So it's very, very important that not only you speak up on book study, but also that you train your team to do the same thing. Lots of benefits to speaking up on a book study discussion. Do it scared. Just do it scared. It's really important. All right. Any other ideas about how to provide leadership opportunities for your team?
Well, I had one also. I'm over at the church about that whole book study, speaking up thing, because I feel very strongly about that too. But I think a great example that is like in our 1, 2, 3 go, our reset group, just going in. We asked golds and rubies to go in and just check the comments and respond to these people, right? It gives ownership for them, for the group, first of all, and it makes them visible. It allows them to give their 2 cents. If somebody has a question, they can share their knowledge, all of that kind of stuff. I think that is a great platform to just start. And it's a super simple way to share what knowledge you have with other people. I think everybody should be doing that. So that was the other thought I have. But book club, speak up. You're not going to die. Trust me. I'm living proof.
Tell them about the first time you spoke up on a book study, Emily.
Oh my gosh, holy cow. So backstory, hate speaking in public, like even small groups hate it. And I had been on book club for a while and kept feeling this burning in my body, like, you need to say that, you need to say that. And then somebody else would say it. And I'm like, whew, good thing I didn't have to say it. But I was determined to be a leader, to be a diamond, not diamond yet, and leader. But what I saw was every leader that I knew was speaking up on book club. So we need to do what people that are where we want to be are doing, right? So I was bound and determined I was going to do it. And one night, I remember it clear as day, I was on my couch in the living room, and I just decided I was going to do it. And I hit unmute. And I have no idea what I said, but I mean, there's no telling what I said. But when I was done, I was sweating profusely, like my blood pressure was probably through the roof. I had to go take a shower. It was a whole ordeal, but I didn't die. And then I just made myself continue doing that over and over. And I still hadn't died. So you're not gonna die.
Yeah, totally agree. Love that story. Nobody would ever know that now, obviously. So,
and when I tell people that, they're just like, no, like, go back and watch those recordings and see what happens. Yep.
Yeah. Don't let the fear of what people think rob you of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Is the moral of the story. So that, what will people think of me? It has robbed people of dreams. So don't let that be you.
Sorry.
Okay. Somebody saying something. Angela, you got something?
I was trying to say something. My service is really crazy tonight. I just wanted to say the way I started having leaders start helping them with where they were at was in sharing their testimony, like whether it was on a Zoom or in person events we did, not just sharing, like, you know what I mean? And that was even just a small little thing, not necessarily the whole thing, but just starting with something. I really feel like that helped people. Some of my amazing raising up leaders and people that are now helping their people to raise up leaders, I'm seeing that was where confidence began to start in them, was sharing their own story, and or even telling them to do it themselves on a 3-way call or on their wall or in a little video that they post in their story. You know, those are little things, but I saw something change, and then encouraging them when they did that. And then, all of a sudden they're sharing again, then they're sharing the next time, then they're sharing more. And so anyway.
Angela, that is so good. Such a hot tip right there. Yes. If everybody would do that, people would just be building confident leaders. That is a perfect place to start with speaking up, is just sharing your own story. And you as a leader, you can mentor them through that. Like, you can give them guidelines on, like their elevator speech or whatever, like tell them the elements of a good story, that it should be short, start with less than 3 minutes. And then eventually, once they practiced a lot, get it down to under 2 minutes. But you can definitely coach people how to tell their story effectively, and then they can do that confidently, and it would encourage them to speak up when they have other opportunities. I love that. That's definitely a hot tip. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Some other thoughts I had here. All of my leaders have YouTube channels because, like I said, leaders have things to say. And I tell my leaders not to wait on an opportunity to lead. They need to create opportunities to lead. Because, like, if they're waiting on being asked to lead a team call, I mean, we have 4 weeks in a month. How many leaders do we have on our team? So they might not get that opportunity in the near future. So I don't want people waiting around on that, because there's ample opportunities for them to take ownership and have leadership experiences that are going to build them up as a leader and help them gain leadership experience. It doesn't depend on leading a team call, although that is one example of giving somebody leadership experience. That's just one example. Y'all have heard, hopefully you guys have taken notes and you plan to implement some of these ideas, because these are really, really good tips. And then also, another thing to keep in mind is everybody has a chance to lead on their own social media accounts. Everybody has a chance to lead. Leadership is influence. It just means you add value intentionally. That's all it means. And that's how you gain influence. People should be doing that every single day on their social media accounts. So plenty of opportunities to lead. Okay. He says that crucible leadership lessons. Did you guys see that list? He sat there and brainstormed a list of like things that he knew any of his leaders were going to need to learn. So as a leader, have you ever sat down and thought about, what all is my team going to need to know to be successful? Have you ever sat and thought about that? I think about that all the time. I think it's on my brain more than anything else in my business. No kidding. I want to know, like, I'm wondering, do they know like how to sell and get customers? That's where it starts. But do they know how to retain customers? And eventually, do they know how to sell and get customers from people that they don't know? because that's going to be a skill they have to learn at some point, expanding their network or cold market recruiting. Do they know how to build influence and add value on their social media? Do they know how to teach others how to be successful at the same things? Do they know how to troubleshoot somebody else's business? If somebody's putting in the work and not getting results, do they know how to help them? Or do they know how to get people to go all in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? I'm constantly thinking like, what are all the things my team is going to need to know in order to be as successful as they want to be? So when you lead a team, you can't just be focused on fulfilling the vision or getting the work done. That cannot be your only focus. Every single challenge or problem or opportunity is a chance for you to offer somebody on your team a leadership development experience. I mean, think about that. The quickest way to add value to somebody is solve a problem for them. So problems are inevitable. Every single person building a business is going to experience myriads of them. You're going to have problems and challenges as you build this. So are you using the problems as opportunities? Are you taking the problems or the challenges and turning them into opportunities for growth for your team? Give me an example of how you have used a problem to provide a leadership development opportunity for someone on your team, or how you could do that.
I'm not 100% sure if it's really what you're asking me for, but today I had somebody do something that I felt like was a really big step in the right direction. She's very new, and she's actually my level 4. My level 1 is not active, and then level 2 is a rock star. This is her only builder right now, and she is in the mindset that she has to be the expert from day one. Like, she doesn't want any help. She doesn't want 3-ways. She doesn't want to use our tools. She's going to reinvent the wheel. And she had talked to me about some things and left the door slightly cracked for me to step in and be like, hey, like, use us. Third-party validation. You're not supposed to know everything. How scary is it that you have to know it all? Well, do you think all the people you're signing up are going to be scared because they feel like they have to know it all now too? And so we went into that. And after I talked to her back and forth with voice messages for a good little bit over last night, she messaged me back today and she's like, hey, I just thought that you should know that I went back and messaged all the people that have reached out about my reset results. And I told them that I just kind of wanted to apologize because I think I could have handled that a little differently considering how new I am. And I would really like to get them to some of my friends that may have more and or better information if they would give me a second chance to have that conversation again. And I'm like, girl, I'm so proud. That was hard. That was scary and that was hard. And I'm so proud of you for doing that, because I didn't tell her to do it. I didn't even insinuate to do that. Like, I had to twist her arm to get her to watch the getting started video. So I was very proud of her for taking that step. And then she had immediate feedback with people wanting to accept her offer and eager to do that. So it really fueled her fire when she made that choice.
That's awesome. So she accepted the feedback and grew from it. And that is a sign of maturity and humility. So I respect that a ton too. Great job, Jessa. Good coaching. All right, anybody else? You have an example of how you've used a problem to provide a leadership development opportunity for somebody? Or how you could? Any ideas on how you could?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
In a coaching call, like if there's a problem that one of your team builders, level 1s, level 2s, whatever, brings to you, and you can coach them and help them discover the results or a different solution or a solution to it, you can ask them then to be able to go share that solution that they discovered with other team members or with their own downline and go, this is something that you may already know, but if not, here's a solution I have to this issue. And so that then helps build them, and then it shows their team, their leaders, and it increases their influence and they add value, and it's like a win on so many levels.
Yes, that's so good, Pamela. Love that. I would often ask people to make a post about what they found in the team page. If they're asking me a question that they can't find an answer to, then I will say that I will just say, okay, when you find that answer, can you make a good post about it? Because other people are going to need the answer to that too. So that's really good. Some other examples I was thinking of, troubleshooting the products. We didn't really have like a good system for that, and it's definitely not my strength, but there are people on my team who do have that strength somehow. And so when I would get these questions, I was paying attention to like who seemed to have passion about the products and troubleshooting, things like that. Well, eventually Kayleen and Deirdre teamed up to create us a troubleshooting system, which is now the group that we have where you can just find answers to common troubleshooting thing and just tips and stuff like that. So that was an opportunity for them, both of them, to be leaders using what they're already good at. Another example would be if I was analyzing numbers, let's just say Christina, because I know that she never minds me using her as an example. If I'm noticing that, you know, her or maybe somebody on her team recruiting a lot of people, but not duplicating, then I will just ask a lot of questions to get her to analyze like how, because Christina is at this point always duplicating. She's great at it. I would say she's mastered the art of it. And so then I would give her the platform to then go and train on it. Like she would go and ask questions, troubleshoot, figure it out, and then create just a world-class network marketing training on that topic. So I'm always looking for ways to turn problems into opportunities for people and help them become better leaders. Any other ideas or examples on how we can do that? Turn problems or challenges into leadership opportunities.
So I'm learning to do this. I haven't mastered it yet, but when someone comes to me with a problem, instead of answering it, I'm working on asking more questions so that they can solve their own problems. Mm-hmm. And then I like how you said using that to like make it into a training or, you know, helping them solve their own problem on their own for one thing, but then using it to go further.
Yes. Whitney, I'm so proud of you.
Can you see my pulse?
I knew you were nervous, girl. I'm so proud of you. That's coachable right there. That's coachable. You hear us in here talking about it, and you're like over there, like, I'm determined by the time this call's over, I'm gonna say something. Watch this. I'm gonna say something. I'm so proud. But yes, you're absolutely right. And I don't know why that is popping up. Okay. All right. Anybody else before I move on to the last question? Actually, it's 9:58. I'm gonna move on. All right. So Maxwell says about John Wooden. He taught young men at UCLA to play basketball and, more important, how to live a successful life. He was a level 5 leader through and through. So my last question for 5 levels of leadership, this book, to sum it up, what do you want people to say about your leadership? She taught her team how to grow a business and, more important, how to what? I cried during that part of the book too, Sarah Marie. I also went and ordered John Wooden's book that he referenced. But what would be your fill in the blank? She taught, what do you want people to say about your leadership? She taught her team how to grow a business and, more important, how to what?
I think I would say fully live the life of my dreams. like in every way. I think that's what I would say.
Like that you taught other people how to do that?
And just equip them to dream and then go and do it and live in it fully.
Yeah, I love that. So good. Can totally see that about you. Oh, I love that, Cecilia. Find freedom in Jesus. Yep. Grow in their faith and in their freedom. Yep.
I want to see people, I want them to say like that that I could unlock in people the potential of what all that they're called to walk into, like being able to give them keys, not just unlock for them, but hand them keys to unlock for others. The potential, calling, the purpose, the destiny, and like free, all the things they all said. But I was just thinking of handing keys like to them to be able to unlock and bring freedom to others around them. And that I want to be able to have that legacy. And I know that y'all, I feel like y'all are doing that for us. And I want to fulfill that. I want to walk in helping people. I feel like emotional about this for some reason, but I really want to help people step into all they're called to be and do. And I want to impact lives. I don't want to just be, I don't want to be a diamond. I want to see other people fulfilling their purposes and calling. And that is part of that platform. And even people that aren't on our team would be impacted in a ripple effect of being set free when we are stepping into who we're called to be.
That's so good, Angela. Well, you are doing that. I see you doing that. I see it happening. And that is so good. I feel all of those words. I feel the same way.
I think for me, it would be kind of the same thing, that people feel like their life has purpose. Because I think right now, so many people don't feel like they have purpose. A lot of people don't even have much hope. So that they're cared for, definitely. If I don't feel cared for, I've not done my job. But two, that they feel purpose.
I love that. That's so good. Yeah, that's a big one. Anybody else?
Mine would be to help people understand that there is hope in every aspect of their life, that through this business, they can find great friendships of encouragement, not just in their health, but in their marriage, in their rearing their children, in friendships, in just having hope in every aspect of their life. And I want them to feel that way and then share that with others.
That's good. Love that.
I have this quote that I keep on my desk. It says, when I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left and can say I used everything you gave me. So I think for me, I want to help people figure out what that gift is that they have. And it doesn't have to be everything. It could just be one thing, and like develop that and strengthen that and make the absolute most of it, so none of it gets wasted. And I'm gonna cry too before your life,
I love that. Yes, that's so good. I love that. It makes you tear up. I mean, that is hitting your vision. Like that's really getting to the heart of your purpose. So that reminds me of the parable of the talents, and how he, the one who had the 10, he went and multiplied, and the one who had the 5 went and multiplied it. And then the one who had the 1, he buried it, didn't use it. God called him slothful and lazy. He was angry. So yeah, I think we have that responsibility. I definitely 100% believe we have that responsibility to use all of the talent for our good and his glory. All right, y'all. Well, we are over time. So this has been a great book study. Thank you all for your input. Thank you all for desiring to be leaders. You are making an impact. the fact that you're adding value to yourself by even caring to take the time to invest in reading this book and being on these calls. It's an investment and it's a sacrifice, and you do it because you love your team, and that means the world. And I'm very excited about all of your futures and your businesses and what it means for your families and for your teams. So I'm always excited about everything Plexus related. So, but I'm especially excited about leadership because I know how it changes lives. So good night, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.